Hola amigos, it's me Paul and I'm here in San Pancho, Nayarit, Mexico. And today we're going to be talking about the top 5 things I wish I knew before I moved to Mexico. And while I explain to you guys those top 5 things, I'm going to take you on a little journey through town. So vámonos.
Jumping right into our first subject, your home country will become a foreign country. It is interesting to go back to your home country as a foreigner and see it through a new perspective. One of the most glaring differences for me is seeing the suburban neighborhoods in the United States. Although they do, for the most part, look more clean and orderly, there's a lot fewer people to be seen outdoors, a lot less socializing or interacting with each other. Juxtapose this with the vibrant streets of Mexico, where everyone is outside, going to the market, doing business, kids playing in the streets. It does make many US towns seem a little sterile and a little lonely in comparison. Another thing that might happen to you is that you accidentally say things in Spanish to people. For example, you might say buenos dias instead of good morning, or gracias instead of saying thank you. This happens a lot when you first return to your home country, and then after you stay there for a few days, you remember just to speak English. But right when you get back, you might accidentally say a few common Spanish phrases. And of course, there are taco deserts. You can be in the United States and go for miles and miles and miles without finding a taco. And the tacos from Taco Bell or Jack in the Box do not count as real tacos.
All right, so moving right along to number 2 on the list is Mexico is loud. And although right now here in San Pancho it's pretty quiet, it's the low season, but in general, Mexico is a very loud country.
People don't always consider the sounds that come along with Mexico. Besides general street noise, which includes music, fireworks, water trucks, gas trucks, there's also the fact that Mexican people love to celebrate everything. Whatever the highest level of their sound system is, they will push it past that level. It could be a birthday party or a baptism. The party will have music so loud nobody can hear each other speak. And these parties might start at 10 p.m. and go late into the night and early next morning. And so something that happened recently here in Puerto Vallarta and is ongoing, there's a restaurant called Gabby's, which has been here in Puerto Vallarta for 35 years. And an American who recently purchased a condo near the restaurant made a formal complaint about the live music and the music coming from the restaurant being too loud. And so this really upset a lot of people in the community in Puerto Vallarta, and they actually have held multiple protests, and musicians have come and played their music really loud outside of Gabby's and that person's condo. As of today, the legal battle continues, and so we'll see what happens. I personally hope that Gabby's will be able to continue playing their music. Don't move to Mexico and try to change what makes Mexico the vibrant and beautiful country that it is.
So that leads right into our next subject, which is hand gestures. Lots of different hand gestures here in Mexico.
Here in Mexico, there is another language that you will become familiar with besides Spanish. It is the unofficial sign language that Mexican people have and they use on a daily basis. Here are some examples. Let's say you are out to lunch and you're telling a story about how everyone should subscribe to this YouTube channel, and the person you're talking to is taking a drink, they will still be able to tell you yes, even though they are taking a drink. And they do this not by nodding their head, because then they would spill the drink all over themselves, but instead they nod their finger. It's the Mexican finger nod. It means yes. Give it a try right now while your finger is right over the like button on this video. This next hand gesture is one that I really like. I actually did this gesture one day without thinking. At some point, I subconsciously picked it up and put my hand up like this. It simply means thank you. I often use this while driving. If someone gives me the right of way, I raise my hand and say thank you. But I do think that this one could be easily misinterpreted as a rude gesture for people coming from other countries. And the next gesture. What do you think it means when someone rubs or taps their elbow. You guessed it, they're telling you somebody is cheap. I believe this gesture comes from the idea that their arms don't extend into their pockets. They fall short at the elbow. There are many more gestures here in Mexico. I'll share those in a future video.
All right, jumping right into our next subject, which is Google Translate. So a lot of you already know about Google Translate. Obviously, it can translate whatever language you type into it, but not everybody knows about some other features that can be very helpful for folks that are not Spanish speakers or fluent in Spanish. And I'll show you those features right now.
If you haven't quite mastered the Spanish language, then more often than not, you've used Google Translate to help navigate language barriers. Many people know you can type in the English phrase or sentence and produce the Spanish equivalent, but not everyone realizes you can actually take pictures of a sign or a menu or a document, and it will automatically translate it into your desired language. And you can take screen grabs of whatever it is that's on your phone, and you could put those into Google Translate as well. So I've heard other people say, I don't have signal here in Mexico, or I don't have coverage for data, so I can't use Google Translate while I'm out and about. Well, did you know that you can actually download the language to your phone? So you'll be able to translate wherever you go throughout Mexico as long as your battery on your phone is charged. And you can also just speak directly into the app, and it will translate what you want to say to the person you want to communicate with, and vice versa. Remember, don't rely completely on Google Translate, and be sure to practice and learn Spanish.
So this is a bit of a bonus. I wasn't expecting to find this donut here in Mexico, but this is the old-fashioned donut from Dojo Donuts here in San Pancho. And you cannot find a good old-fashioned cake-style donut in Mexico. At least I haven't been able to. Okay, so I'm gonna eat this donut right here in front of this gym, this outdoor gym they have here, which is pretty cool. It's like a public gym. Anybody can come here and exercise. But right now I'm gonna sit here and eat donuts. I did take a bite out of this before I started filming, and it's really good. It's delicious. But I would like to see if they do carry the maple or the chocolate old fashions. But yeah, this one is delicious. So I found my donut, and it's only about 30 minutes away from where I live. Mom, I found a donut. It tastes good.
Pretty similar. Similar.
So jumping into the next subject, we're talking about low season.
Touristy areas of Mexico, like where I live, there are what we refer to as high and low seasons. Between November and May is when we receive most tourists, and then June and October there are less. This has a lot to do with the weather. As where we live, it becomes hot and humid in the summertime, which is called the low season, and very nice and moderate during the high season, which is in the fall and winter. But there are some perks to being here during the low season. With less people, there's less traffic, and so you end up being able to get to places faster, and it's just a nicer, more pleasant drive. No wait times at restaurants or beach clubs, and sometimes you'll go places and you'll have the whole place to yourself. And I'll give you a little tip, it's actually cheaper to buy a home or rent a home during the low season in Mexico. And to get some of those good summer rates, you can visit our website, beachlifemexico.com.
Okay, and this next subject on the list is asking a Mexican for directions.
If you ask a Mexican person for directions, they will tell you exactly how to get to where you're going, even if they're not sure themselves. I believe that this is part of the Mexican hospitality, and they don't want to leave someone with nothing. So instead of simply saying they don't know how to get to where you're going, they point you in a general direction, oftentimes towards someone else who may or may not know what you're searching for. And eventually, someone will know, and you'll get to where you're going. Do you have any additional insights or comments? Comment below. Stay tuned for later this month as we will be announcing the winner of a 5-night stay at Casa Limon. Thank you for watching today's video. Please like, share, and subscribe. De mi familia a la tuya, Dios te bendiga.
Mom, I found a donut.